What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Retro Hoop Collectibles. I told you guys I was going to start digging a little bit more into some 90s basketball. I've kind of gotten away from that recently, and it's not intentional. There's just so much going on in the hobby right now that it's kind of hard to kind of reel things in. But we're going to give it an attempt. I wanted to talk to you guys today about a very interesting set that I came across. And it started with a conversation that I was having with my brother, who was telling me how he, on the Star Wars side, was starting to look at prototype sets. He was also starting to look at mail-in cards, cards that in a junk wax era where printing was basically a free-for-all. Companies were printing like crazy. They were making thousands upon hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of cards, and just basically oversaturated, which was at the time a very hot market, and thus giving us what we now affectionately call the junk wax era. But during that time, it doesn't mean that rarity didn't exist. It just came in a different way. There wasn't numbered cards back then. In some of the sets that we're going to talk about, or specifically in the set we're talking about today, you really couldn't pull autographs like that back then. There were no, short prints, case hits, that kind of stuff. Retail exclusives and things that Panini uses now in a very sparing fashion in an abundant fashion to try to, create artificial scarcity. But there are ways that you can find little gems and things like, prototype sets, things like mail-in cards, things like, cereal box sets, McDonald's sets, things like that are ways that you can still collect cards from that era that didn't have the same print run that some of the sets had that are synonymous with junk wax. And a perfect example of what we're going to talk about today is I'll jump over here for a second, the Skybox 1990-91 Skybox set, right? Just the entire set. I mean, this is a pretty iconic set. It's pretty synonymous with junk wax, as we all know. One of my favorite sets. It was the first offering for basketball for Skybox, and in doing so, this set was kind of a bit of a cutting edge type set because of the graphics, because of the way they put together the actual player on the graphic. That wasn't necessarily something that was going on back then. Cards were very mechanical, right? They had a picture of the guy, basically a snapshot, a picture, playing the sport, baseball, basketball, football, whatever. On the back, they had his stats, and then that was it, right? There was nothing spectacular, nothing crazy. Well, what Skybox was trying to do was trying to add some flair to their offering. And in doing so, they created a prototype set. Okay. And they would take this prototype set to card dealers, LCSs and things like that, and say, hey, we're about to come out with a product. Here's what it looks like. And it was on a sell sheet. I'll pop it up right here so you guys can look and see what it looks like. It came in this cardboard kind of card stock. And then the card was wedged in there. It was inserted and held together, as you guys can see right here. And then it had some verbiage on there. I'll try to remember what that verbiage is, but you guys can see it right here. So what they were bringing around to these LCSs were prototypes of these cards, what they looked like, and some, I guess, selling points on the card. And it says, we're not just saying they're better, we're backing them up. We're backing them up with candid player photos that cover 2/3 of the back panel and reveal the personality behind the player. Again, remember, these were very mechanical things, cards back in the days. All they had on the back was stats, and that was it. We're backing them up with interesting, informative stat lines generated by NBA scouting computers. One stat compares them to the average with all of that player's other positions, and the other one shows what a player might do if he played all 48 minutes of every game. And so they were handing these out, again, to the LCSs to kind of drum up some business, drum up some excitement about the set. And it ultimately was and became pretty popular. And so obviously they printed a hell of a lot of them. And here they are, right? So, graphics on the front, okay? And then on the back, more of the player that shows a little bit more of that player's personality. Okay. Now, this is what they ended up doing. And here is the set, the prototype set. So it's 10 cards total. I have all 10 cards. I've been putting together this set for quite some time. It started off with just I think I had the Jerome Robinson first. Let me see. Richardson. Jerome Richardson is the first card that I got. Kind of loose. And then after that, I just started I think I picked up like another lot that had like 3 or 4 of these, and then I picked up the Clyde separate, and then I got the rest of the lot like this. And then I was holding off on the Jordan because the Jordans can be extremely expensive if they grade out really nice, which is very hard for them to do, because once again, I'll pop up the thing here. You'll notice that the way the card was being held in that card stock is by jamming it into the corner and having the corners hold it in. So to find one that was in good shape was extremely hard to find. And you'll notice a bit of a difference. I did manage to pick one, so I'll tell you a story about this one. I did manage to pick one up, but it's in a PSA 6, which after looking at it, when I bought it originally, I bought it off eBay, and it didn't look too bad in the pictures. It has pretty good eye appeal. I really like the card. However, if you look at it in a particular light, you'll notice that there is... I'm going to go ahead and take it out. You'll notice that there is some... I don't know if you guys can see it or not. I'm hoping that the camera can pick it up, but there it is. You guys see that crease right there? That crease that goes across the top, and then and it does it again here as well. There's a bit of a crease there. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's pretty indicative of where these cards were stored and where they came from. But still, regardless of the fact, a very, very interesting, very cool set to what otherwise would have been just a normal junk wax era card. And so there's a bunch of things out there like this, guys. I mean, I know in this era that we're in now, where everybody wants that exclusive and the 1 of 1s and the gold to 10s and all this other stuff. There are still some, and I'll jump off of this real quick. There are still some sets out there that can be had that are special, that are low run, low print. This is just one example. I think the 91-92 Skybox also had a prototype set that came out with it. It's a much larger set, but it also did have a prototype set. So I'm going to start kind of trying to figure out how to piece that one together. These are all going to go off to SGC as if you didn't know that already. But again, these are the kind of things that even within the era that is considered to be junk wax, there are some sets out there that are not so junky and that are really good, legitimate sets with some level of scarcity to them that is legitimate. And I would imagine that there aren't many of these laying around, as they were only given out to LCSs to drum up business. But if you could piece one together, it's pretty cool to have and pretty cool story to tell. So that's going to do it for this video. I appreciate you guys watching. Let me know down in the comments if there are any other sets that you guys have chased in the past, whether it be baseball, basketball, football, hockey, soccer, whatever you're into, that has a similar story. I like little quirky stuff like that. But let me know down in the comments. Also, if there's any basketball ones that are kind of oddball that you think are pretty dope that you want me to take a look at, let me know as well, and I'll see what I can do about trying to chase them down and see if I can put a whole set together. So thank you guys for watching. As always, I appreciate it. I love y'all. Peace.